Yo! Welcome everybody. It's Wednesday, and you know Wednesday's New Comic Book Day, and it's OMNIBROS Day. So everybody, thanks again for everybody showing up. We're going to be talking about one of the most strangest comic books that I came across, and it influenced the rest of the OMNIBROS. So we're going to talk about Justice League Rise of Arsenal. And the person joining me tonight along for the ride is my boy, Lou. What's up, brother?
What's up? Yeah, man, it is Wednesday. It's the Lord's Day. It's also the Omni Brothers Day. So if you are out there and you are watching the stream, even if it's after we're done here, hit the like button. It helps us out, guys. Really, it does. But Gabe, jumping right into some housekeeping things, where can they pick up comics like Rise of Arsenal and a whole stream of other DC titles and Marvel titles for a fraction of the price?
There's only one place for that, Lou, and it's the number one spot for grabbing all your collected editions, trade paperbacks, omnibuses, all that fun stuff. That's InStockTrades.com, everybody. Don't go around. Times are tough. Everybody's in a crisis. Save some money. Don't spend your hard-earned cash and pay full cover price for your omnibuses and collected editions. No. We don't do that here. Here, we go to InStockTrades.com, and that's because you can get up to 42% off on comics. Most of the time, it's higher. You can dig through here, and you'll find some stuff where you got much larger discounts, 60%, 50%, 80% sometimes if you check out that red tag sale. Awesome customer service. They've been sponsoring the show for years, and because of that, we have been continuing to give away a $50 gift card on the last Monday of every month to one lucky person in the chat, and it's open to everybody worldwide. So make sure you check us out on Mondays to get that $50 gift card from IST. Free shipping on orders of $50 or more. They have the best shipping, the best packaging. They give you a 2% extra, that's right, extra discount as a loyalty discount. So you make one order, your very next order will have an additional 2% off. They're already crazy discounted prices. InStockTrades.com, everybody check them out.
Yes, sir.
And always join us on Mondays where we talk about what's coming out on Tuesday, because Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, IST updates with the brand new books and the awesome deals of the week. So that's the time to check us out and check them out.
Some good stuff there this week, man. That Ex Machina book, I recommended that on Monday. There's Ice Cream Man, BDSM Superman. So there's some good stuff there that you guys can pick up this week.
Good old BDS, not shaming anybody, Superman. That's 50% off. He does have some daddy energy going on right there.
Yes, he does. We're going to talk about some daddies later today.
Oh, man, are we?
I'm excited to talk about that, actually.
Absolutely. So that's InStockTrades.com, everybody. Check them out if you haven't before. Bam.
Wonderful. Love them.
All right, dude. So I was talking to you one day, and I brought up Rise of Arsenal because I found it. I found the set like in a $2 bin at a little comic book show. I was talking about it on the show because issue 3 is insane and outrageous, and you decided to suggest that we read the whole series. It's only a 4-issue series.
That's tiny. It's not.
It's not a deep dive or anything like that. So, so that's what we're going to be talking about. The Wild and Crazy. And that's why I titled. See, I actually just dropped my issues. That's why I titled, "How did this book get made?" Justice League: Rise of Arsenal. Because this is 2010. It's after Blackest Night.
Right. This is the Dan DiDio era, so I was really
it's still been, well, Dan DiDio has been a part of DC since, up until like what, 2 years ago, something like
that. Yeah, 2 3
It was
years
like
ago.
pandemic, and then bye bye Dan DiDio.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's already on at this point.
Yeah, he's on, and they're far. This is pretty close. Well, Dick Grayson is Batman in this, so that means they're probably about a year or two away from kicking off New 52.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they might even be like working on it now or something.
Yeah. Which I think would lend credence to how the fuck they got away with this story, because they probably were like, "Look, New 52 is coming. We're gonna reboot all this shit anyway, so just go nuts."
Well, I mean, I think it just flew under the radar. I don't know if not so much because of editorial not noticing. I just don't think anybody cared. Like it was just like, that Roy book, we're gonna give him his own book. Sure, JT Kroll, who at the time I think was writing. I know he was writing Green Arrow during like the Brightest Day era. So that's about this time. So I think he might have been writing this and that at the same time. I'm not super positive, but I know that he did write Green Arrow for a while. And yeah, I mean, this is just a book where, because things are going on in here. So kind of a little bit of kind of bridging the gap of what's going on.
Yeah.
So Star City gets destroyed by Prometheus. Or Prometheus gives the order to do it or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it kills something like, it wipes out the city basically. Like, it kills like 100,000 plus people in the city. One of those victims was Roy's daughter, and by Roy I mean Red Arrow, and by Red Arrow I mean he's now being called Arsenal.
Yeah.
And that's kind of that sets the stage. Other than like, if you don't already know, Roy as Red Arrow as a little kid, not a little kid, but like younger version of him. And it's a very famous comic of him shooting heroin. Like he's a heroin addict.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just some context to some of the wild things that we're going to be talking about in this book. Where'd my issues go?
I will say, I did not hate this. I went into this thinking this thing is going to be just terrible. I'm going to hate it. And we'll do it for the lulz, right? I did not hate this. I didn't think it was good. But this thing moves. It's only 4 issues, but it does not waste time in going from bop, 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 almost to its detriment, because there's really no buildup to anything. It's just shit happens. At the beginning of the story, you have Red Arrow, who he's sitting basically, is it at Justice League Tower or whatever? And yeah, he gets attacked by what looks like Shazam, which, by the way, that's not Billy Batson, right? This is somebody else.
I'm not sure if this is the right Shazam or not, because that doesn't look like him at all.
I think he calls him something else in this. And it turns out this is actually some villain called Prometheus. And we're already here with Red Arrow, and it seems to me Red Arrow is already about 1 parking ticket away from falling off the wagon, right? He looks like he's not on the most stable wagon at this point. So Prometheus attacks him.
And you know what? Real quick, shout out to Gerald Burgess, the artist. He did a lot of heavy lifting on this.
Yeah, no, the art is actually solid. It's not bad. I was actually really impressed. I'm like, man, the art is not bad in this book at all. And he does all 4 issues, if I'm not mistaken, with the exception, I think, of a handful of pages in the 3rd one. So he gets attacked by Prometheus, and Prometheus cuts his arm off. This isn't the first time he's lost his arm, right? He's lost it before, right?
No, I think this is has he lost it before? I've never heard of him losing it other than this time.
Okay, so it is this time.
I mean, I don't know how many times you can lose an arm.
I mean, in the DC universe, they do say later on, I think they try to regrow it or something like that, but they come up with a reason they can't. So he gets his arm cut off, and he ends up getting knocked out, basically almost killed. It's a pretty brutal scene, and that's what I'm saying. The art is really not bad on this. He does a good job.
No, the art's really good in it. the storytelling works and stuff like that. Everything's clear. Like you get an idea of everything that's kind of going on.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I've seen some things in here I didn't like that stuck out, but no big deal. It didn't ruin the book for me. Like the art's a lot better than I thought for a book where it's like you ever read a book where Red Arrow does heroin? I thought it'd be like, I don't know how solid the art would have been, but yeah. So yeah, and then he gets knocked down, and wakes up in a hospital.
Right. And Hal Jordan is Green Lantern, which really kind of gave me a beat for where we are as far as the DC universe comic wise. I'm like, okay, so Hal Jordan is back. It must be somewhere along the line of this time period. And Dick Grayson's Batman.
Yeah, Dick Grayson's Batman, which I didn't realize, and I was like, he's acting kind of weird. This guy doesn't know how to write Batman. and then later on they talk about him being Dick Grayson Batman. I go, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
So yeah, Green Arrow's back. He's back to life. Hal Jordan's back. Like this is after Blackest Night.
Yeah, and it
at the same time, there's another series happening here called Cry for Justice.
Okay, I was wondering because it does seem like in between the 4 issues, stuff happens and it jumps around a lot.
Right.
So
that's another thing is that Justice League Cry for Justice is happening at the same time as this.
Okay, so that makes a lot more sense to me. I figured that was the case.
I think that's why it went under the radar. Is I think the focus Cry for Justice was like a big push. Like it wasn't like a huge event. It wasn't Blackest Night, but it was a pretty big event at the time, and something major happens in it that we'll get to. But that's that connection to it. So I think with everything focusing on what's happening there, because everything was like, wow, this happened. Wow, this happened. Like this book just went under the radar, and all the craziness happens.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that's what was going on because I tried to read it, and then in between issues, it felt like some stuff just happens, especially between issues, I think 3 and 4. Like, I feel like I've missed an issue or context for something. But anyway, he wakes up, he finds out, hey, Star City's just basically dust. And your daughter died in Star City, which really just sends him from 0 to asshole in like 30 seconds flat. There is no grieving process here. He just goes straight to asshole real quick.
Yeah, this is the next page where he's flipping out, busting up his room, which is 100% understandable. Like
that part,
no shame on this guy.
No shame on that part.
Yeah.
It's when he starts talking down to the other members of the Justice League that I'm like, God damn, dude, that's fucking cold as shit. I think he tells one of them like that you can't even have kids or something like. I think he says something to Black Canary along the lines of like you can't even have kids, and I was like, Jesus, man, that's messed up.
Yeah, it's rough, dude. I mean, he's going through it, and he just wrecks everybody. He just starts throwing punches at everyone.
Right, so Ollie comes through. He tries to talk to him, and he's like, "Hey, let me talk to him. Let's see if we can get him." So he wakes up. At this point, he's dreaming. So he starts dreaming, and he starts dreaming about his ex-heroin dealer / buddy he used to get high with, who apparently had died.
I'm going to point out the art real quick. It looks like the hat is sitting on top of his head.
It does. It really does.
But yeah, this is just you just see the spiraling of a man in grief.
Yeah,
just so sad through this whole thing. They just really they just push it. They just really kind of push the envelope, and really just Red Arrow at this point is basically DC's Daredevil, but with a drug habit.
Yeah,
like he just taking blows.
Yeah, so they're like, hey, we can give you a robot arm, but it's gonna hurt like a bitch. That's later on, and he visits his daughter's grave, which, admittingly, as a father of a daughter of two girls, this scene actually touched me a little bit. I was like, wow, that really sucks, and I feel for the guy, I really do. And this is where you see the spiral start happening, where he starts popping pills left and right. First issue, I thought, you know what? Writing's okay, but it goes by so quick that I wasn't bored. And that's my cardinal rule. Don't bore me. If
Yeah.
you don't bore me, I'm going to give you points for it. Honestly, if you don't, it's not something like a Chris Ware book or something like that where it's pretentious and I'm bored as fuck reading it. This has everything that I want. I just wish the writing was better. It's got good action. It's got great, solid art. And not only that, it's
Like
got
stuff happens.
stuff
Like
happens. Arsenal
every
kicks ass.
issue, like it's like this. Like it's just action packed. Like he's always
Yeah.
fighting some drug dealer, some guy stealing a TV. He just
Right.
fights random people through this whole book. But at least there's something going on, and there is some forward momentum with the outcome of everything.
Exactly. So I'm giving it points for that, honestly, because I'm not bored.
I don't have much to say against it. I mean, other than it being like really wacky, like this is like this is like a story that a like film student would make, where
There
they
we
just
go.
try to push the envelope, where it's like, hey, he does drugs. Hey, he loses an arm. Like it just feels kind of shock value-y.
Right.
And it just gets wilder and wilder. But you know what? The overall kind of frame story for it all is worth the read. Definitely.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with that. This to me, so if I were to describe it, I would say this is Garth Ennis light, but Garth Ennis at his most edgelord. I want to say, if that makes sense. It's Garth Ennis light, but without all the, I would say, kind of substance that you get sometimes in Garth Ennis books. Because sometimes you get a Garth Ennis book and you're like, man, that was really good. It hit all the notes. I really felt bad. And sometimes you get a Garth Ennis book and you're just like, this was fucking immature. Why am I reading this? This really didn't hit home. And this kind of feels just a step above that. It's not immature, but it does feel like a lot of it is for shock value. Like, oh my God, I'm going to have Arsenal do this, and this, you know?
Right. I think just the shocking stuff kind of took over some of the story elements, really.
Right. You know? Exactly. Because you had hyped it up for us with issue 3.
Yeah.
And everything leading up to issue 3, there is a story there of a guy who lost his daughter, and tragically he has an addiction and he just falls into his old ways. There's a story there. There is something there. And
take out the superhero element and it's like a regular dude, you know, going through grief and escaping through drugs.
Right. It's not a Spider-Man. What's the one we always rag on by the Abrams boy?
Oh, I don't know the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's not that Spider-Man story by the Abrams boy where nothing fucking makes sense. Where it just nothing flows into each other. None of the characters act right. You get why he's going through what he's going through. And realistically, it's only issue 3 where it completely falls off the fucking wagon and it just goes into cartoon land.
It's like they said, "Oh, you know what? This isn't edgy enough.
Right?
Make it edgier." And that was on issue 3, and then issue 3 was okay. That's a little too much because in issue 4 is a little bit more even keel. So you need to go harder, and then he turns in issue 3, and they're like, "We didn't mean that hard." So here's what I'm talking about here, where this connects to Cry for Justice, because in Cry for Justice, Green Arrow killed Prometheus,
and that's not shown here or given really. I mean, it is given some context because Arsenal shows up to the prison because Green Arrow, his identity is revealed, and he ends up killing Prometheus. You don't see any of that in this issue, but they let you know that's what happened. Arsenal shows up here. He's pretty pissed off because he's like, you had no right to kill this guy. I was the one that was going to do it. I'm the one that I lost my daughter, and I was the one who should have taken that responsibility and killed Prometheus.
Exactly. How dare you kill the guy I wanted to kill?
Which, look, I'm 100% with Arsenal on this one. Father of two girls, somebody hurts one of my kids. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
100%.
But he just goes, man. He's just a guy that's just like at this point is looking for any reason to go off the wagon and go hardcore. And then they put they put the arm on him right here.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about like this is gonna be like so painful. This is gonna be like the worst thing, but it's the only thing we can do to get you an arm. And he's like, okay, well let's do it already, right? And you see them just jam it into his arm, and this they gave him like no painkillers. Like
I laughed at this part because I'm like, this looks extremely painful. This does not look sanitary for one. And I'm pretty sure medical malpractice happened at this point where they go, all right, Arsenal, you ready? And Cyborg just goes, wham, and jams it right into the stuff.
God. And yeah, just jams it into the stuff. And look, it shows you like, look at all these like sharp, pointy, and then not even just sharp and pointy, but there's like some blunt stuff here that just had to be just like pushed through meat and muscle. Yeah, and nothing. They didn't put him under to do it or anything. Yeah. They were just like, all right, on the count of 3, 1, shove.
That's exactly what it was. All right, man, I'm gonna count to 3. 1, bam, right in the
yeah.
Oh shit. And he keeps taking it in and out throughout the next few issues of the series. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, they jam it in, and now they're still like tinkering with it. So it's not even like, and then the whole time, it's like his little drug addict, like
ghost,
imaginary friend or ghost keeps coming in like, "Hey man, you remember that time we were banging those chicks?
Don't you want to go snort coke off a hooker?
You remember how fun it was when we did all those drugs together? That's exactly what's going on here. Like I'm not making it up. Like that guy just shows up and goes, "Hey man, you want to do some drugs?" It's like Tally from South Park.
You want to get high?
Yes.
And Arsenal this whole time, he's starting to feel the monkey on his back, right? It's starting to get real bad. Oh, and this panel. So it's this panel where he's at his daughter's funeral, right? And immediately my eye just went straight to the Flash and the group of Flash because they're not even paying attention to what's going on. They all look like they're just talking to each other and going, so you want to go to the strip club after this? Or do you want to go get a drink? Something like that.
Did you see the game last night? Can you believe that?
They do not seem to give a fuck. The Flash in the background. All 3 of them, by the way, just talking to each other. Everybody else is in mourning. Everybody's paying attention to what's going on. And the Flash guys in the back are just like, hey, whatever, fuck it. I don't care about this kid.
And he just starts just hallucinating this whole time too. Like he's off the rails. He's like, oh, I hope these work. He's popping pills. They stop working. Ravager for some reason shows up. Who shows up to like a dead girl's funeral and hides in the tree?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
it's comics. I was like, all right, whatever, fine. I love it.
And then at this point, he just starts going after everybody. Right, I can't imagine how you feel. Damn, because this is Mia. She was supposed to be she was babysitting his daughter at the time.
All right.
She left. Yeah. She left her in the building to like go save the city or whatever, right? So that's what, and he's just going for it. He's choking her. Prometheus attacked the city, but you let my daughter die. He's talking about like she was staying with her at the time and she left him.
Yeah.
Yeah. You even had the chance to take out the electrocutioner. Prometheus is Trigger Man, but you turned him over to the police, and that comes into context a little bit later. There's a little bit of foreshadowing there.
Right. Issue 4 is when he really deals with the
that. His book is great. It's good. I mean, it gets psycho, but it's still a really good read. And it's one of those like DC elements where like these are like real people who are like dealing with really hardship stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
He just keeps his arm in his closet. He's montage of training.
Oh yeah, no, dude, I'm pretty sure You're the Best Around was playing somewhere in the background. Like
And look when he takes it off, it just comes off with all these boogers and slime and stuff.
I mean, it looks painful as all get out.
Yeah.
So he's popping pills like Tic Tacs at this point. And his ex shows up. And this is issue 3.
Who is also that's his daughter's mother.
Yeah.
So it's her daughter too.
Right. And this is issue 3. And this is really where, to me, it falls apart for about 20 pages. And I'm like, what? Yeah. So her power. So correct me if I'm wrong. Her power is that her nails can paralyze you or poison you or something, right? So she flat out scratches him. Doesn't do anything to him, except apparently turns him on.
Yeah. Because now at this point they just start slugging it out in his apartment.
Which, okay, I have been Arsenal in this situation. Not with the losing the kid and anything like that, or where your crazy ex shows up and you're like, well, fine.
you wanna do it? Yeah.
and let me tell you,
are we doing this or what? Yeah.
it never ends well.
And here's something cool here. That this was a when Dick Giordano died. So this is kind of the memorial to him.
2007. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you go back and read the old letter columns from comics like that? Do you have any interest in any of that stuff when you go back in single issues?
I mean, I don't go like, oh, there's such a really good letter in this one book, and go read that letter and pull it out or anything like that. No, but if I do read older comics, there's a letters page. I'll read through it, real quick. I'll scan it for anything interesting. But I like to read this stuff. I like it when they have like bulletins in their comics, or when DC has these little write-ups. I like that stuff. That stuff's always interesting to me.
Give me like 2 seconds. I gotta go grab my charger. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Go for it, man. Yeah. So this is here's the end of issue 2, and then this is the book, the issue where this series just goes even more off the rails. It goes such a hard left here at issue number 3. The Iron Man 2 ad. So with issue 3, it picks up right where we left off. It's Cheshire and Roy fighting each other over the death of their daughter. They're blaming one another. You were a bad dad. You were a bad mom. If you've ever been in a divorce situation, this probably looks familiar. But then it turns into a situation where the fighting escalates. And this is always interesting here because it's Roy can make anything a weapon, apparently. So the house has all this kind of just random junk around just to have him show off that he can use a racket. Ooh, how special the racket, a stapler, and then orange extension cord as weapons. And then here's where it gets off, because right here on this panel, Roy's talking about fighting her out. He's ready to just kind of just let loose and beat her up. And he's like, she likes it rough anyways. And is somehow able to tie her up with this orange extension cord. And it goes just, it goes where it goes, energy is amped up, blood's boiling. It's time to go.
Dan DiDio was on vacation, right? That's how this got to be.
But here it is. It's that fighting turns into some hanky-panky, and then the next page, they're laying on the couch. They don't look like they had a good time. Like they didn't enjoy themselves.
They did not.
And here in the middle panel, Cheshire or Jade, I'll read it to you so we get some real context. It's when this book really goes off the rails, and it's just character assassination on Roy. It's okay, Roy. With everything swirling in your head, it's no surprise you weren't able to ... perform. And then he immediately, like any guy who impotency is revealed, or any that is challenged just shrugs her off and is like, I am out of here. Stop this. Like, I am now going out having a fit. I'm going to brush my teeth.
I'm going to get Colgate Max Fresh.
Yeah, get some Colgate. And then he just goes in the streets and just starts beating dudes. I was going to say beating dudes off. Starts beating dudes up for no reason whatsoever. Like, he just shows up and is just stabbing this dude in the arm, punching this dude in the jaw, like taking all these guys out for no reason. There's nothing that you don't see them like, looting the store or trying to kill anybody or doing anything. It's literally just, here's this going on. I'm gonna just kick these guys' butts.
I'm fairly certain that mechanical arm has two settings: pleasure and murder.
Oh my God.
So he chose murder after that. And not only that, look, Roy, 52% of men experience ED at some point in their life. You just happen to be in that ballpark that day. It's all right, man. It happens
just a little earlier.
Yeah. It happens to the best of us. You're having a drug problem. You're on what's the reference he uses? Cat white cat.
The China cat.
China cat. Which I was like, what is China cat? Which is really their version, I guess, of heroin.
I guess. I mean, yeah, that's what it seems like. We'll get to that. That comes up soon. So let's. So he takes off to do some more superheroing, I guess, or whatever. And Corey, who's his, monkey on his back, his heroin drug dealing friend, had dead, but is appearing as a ghost to him or whatever, is now showing back up, going, man, now it's time to get some drugs. Like, let's do this. And this part right here, he's like, I can blow this up because this is great. Remember those two groupies in Nashville? Couple of real skanks. Phew, the things we did with them. I cringe just thinking about it. Like,
who is this guy?
This is just where it goes.
Who is this guy that he's? Do they give him a name?
I don't know who this guy is. I mean, he's obviously not. He's like the opposite of a sponsor.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Like, this is just that person that is just, do whatever you want, go for it. He goes, Hurts, don't it? They warned you about that can opener you got there. Ain't no easy fix this time around, except our kind of fix. And then down here is some dude, I don't know if that's like a laptop or a briefcase, whatever, but it's obviously going to be a drug deal. And he's like, all right, none of it. Okay, you're right, Corey. This is where he gives in. She's dead. What does it matter anymore? He's like, beat it, loser. He's mine. And he just takes his drug dealer's drugs, man. He's like, I am looking to score. What? He's like, I need the heavy stuff. Got any China cat? China what?
Even the drug dealer's like, what the fuck is China cat?
Yeah. He's like, the real deal. Heroin. And he's like, here's the stuff it's called the A train. He's like, I'll take it all. And you just see this guy just score drugs. Freebase off of his phone or an iPad or whatever that is, that heroin. Yeah. You get to see this guy. He gets hired in Snoop Dogg in a helicopter. And while he's when he's there, he's high as can be. His daughter shows up. He sees his daughter in the destruction of the city. And it's this whole little happy moment of, oh, how great to see you. You're not hurt. All this, all that. And then a gang of Prometheuses show up. And he just goes to town on them. Like, you see him just beating all these Prometheuses up, just stabbing them, going crazy. And he sees this other black figure show up. And he slowly turns into Batman. Mm-hmm. And he comes to, and we see what's going on, and it's just Roy, just drugged out of his mind,
with a black cat,
with a dead cat. Mm-hmm. Like, there's flies all over it. It's all mangy and like rotting a little bit and everything. And you can see that he just laid out this alley of just junkies. Like, they ain't doing anything wrong. Like, he just beats all of them down with the dead cat. He's just there just spinning it by its tail. like a nunchuck, and just starts wrecking all these fools. And then here's Batman.
It's at this point where I think JT Kroll knew what he was writing. He's like, "Fuck it, let's just go for it, whatever."
I think his kid snuck into his room and just started typing on the script when he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because who else is going to come up and be like, oh, hey, he's going to beat up all these people with the cat?
Or China cat.
Rawr.
The fuck
An
is
alley
China?
cat.
I've never heard of the term China cat for drugs.
It's a heroin. It's the real deal. So now he starts fighting Batman. And they go at it. Like it's a hardcore fight for a good couple pages.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Until Batman pretty much gives him the size 14 right to the face.
Yeah. I mean, Dick knows what he's doing. He just lays them out. And then Batman and Robin ad. Cool.
Oh god, that was a great run.
And then wakes up just restrained to a table in a it's not Arkham. It's like a drug facility, apparently. Virgil House.
Yeah, Virgil House. Yeah.
So it's just Batman beats him up and throws him in a rehab. And he's messed up still. He still sees his daughter.
He sees his dead daughter.
Yeah.
That was issue 3. Again, if you guys can take away anything from this story does not slow down. It has no patience for characters, for character development or anything like that. It's boom, 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 boom. Something else happens almost every page.
And then here's the final issue. Here's issue 4. As you can see from the cover, the big fight between Red and Green Arrow. So we start out at the Virgil House, and you kind of see all the other kind of like patients that are there. And Roy's there, and he's just, we kind of pick up from where we left off again. Which is what I like about this series. It all just runs concurrent. Like it doesn't jump all over the place with time or anything like that. Like it literally every issue kind of picks up from where the last one left off. But we kind of see this montage of all the fun that Roy had with his daughter. He's just kind of just going through like an apology tour basically with her, going through like kind of his life. And she's there and she's like, no, you cared more about all those other women than you did me. You could have been a fireman or a policeman or a teacher. You chose his lifestyle so that you can neglect me and do whatever you wanted and stuff like that. And he's there just having this like coming to Jesus moment with everything. And then as he's screaming, the guards come in and he just beats up the guards and takes the keys, escapes, just wrecks this fool, picks him up by his throat, throws him over the bed into the wall. So he escapes here, and he goes to Star City Penitentiary because here's where he finds out because he knows the electrocutioner is in here, who is the one that actually was the trigger man that killed everybody at Star City, including his daughter. So he's now is his moment for his revenge, where he gets to go where he now can go and on his mission and just continue with the craziness as he breaks into prison and beats up every single guard. These are just regular dudes like you and me getting a paycheck.
Exactly.
And this fool just wrecks them. Like, no joke, goes after everybody in here. Starts beating up all the other prisoners for like no good reason.
And this really was the issue, I think, that it gives you enough context to figure out what is going on, but I noticed I'm missing something here. It feels like I missed something in between this issue and issue 3.
Yeah. And maybe it's the whole like cry for justice stuff or something, but I think he just kind of I think it just goes, hey, he breaks out, boom, next thing you know, he's here at prison, And and then here comes Ollie. They're like, the guards go, hey, we got to release Green Arrow to fight the Red Arrow. And then it's their big old knockout fight, which I think the artist did a good job at this fight scene. Like he's really pretty good with all this kind of really fun like fights and action. He does a really good job on. And again, it's just them going on an apology tour with one another. Like, Ollie's like, yeah, this is my fault too. I should have, taught you better, and I should have been there to help you more, and that whole normal kind of scheme of things. And just they just start hitting each other, man. This is just good. This goes on for a little bit, and so what happens here? This is the electrocutioner that Roy's looking for. Here's the guy that killed his daughter. Drags him down the prison alleyway here or hallway. Throws a knife, hits the button so that the gates close. So now Ollie, because the whole time Ollie's really just protecting the executioner doing all this. He doesn't want Red Arrow to kill him. Now Roy has set up, brought down the bars, and they're now separate. Green Arrow's on one side of the bars, Red Arrow's on the other side of the bars with the electrocutioner and that big old knife. And this is just, the moment here where Roy does it. He kills the executioner. You see him just straight murder this guy. And that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. That's kind of how it ends.
Right. And this kind of intrigued me because I thought after he kills the guy, I'm like, oh, okay, so are they setting him up to basically be the Punisher? And sure enough, that's kind of what they're setting him up to be, is to be this version of the Punisher.
I mean, sure. I mean, you even have the whole part where he burns down his house and everything, right? So
yeah.
And he just goes on his own way, just hardcore arsenal.
Now, is he clean at this point? I don't know.
Oh, no way, dude. No way. He had too much fun with that cat.
And he's got the Hunter S. Thompson guy who's constantly telling him,
yeah,
hey, man, remember how much fun we had on Smack?
Yeah.
Don't you want to have that fun again?
Do you really want to do that load of laundry and not get high first? And that's it. And, here's the thing is, this is like the begin. This is the rise of Arsenal, right? So this story continues in this Titans Villains for Hire, which I enjoyed this enough that I want to follow along and see what else happens and see if this next series, Villains for Hire, is just as wacky or what happens to Roy's character from here on out going forward. I'm not sure what happens to him between here and New 52 where it resets. Because I know like he was like one of the main parts of was it Heroes in Crisis, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened between here and there, but like this is interesting enough where I'm like, all right, you got me. I'll keep reading this story. I want to find these issues and see what happens.
All right, so Titans Villains for Hire. Let's see, who wrote this? Arsenal. Eric Wallace and Fabrizio Florentino were the ones that wrote that series.
All right.
So it seems like JT Kroll set the table up. Hold on one second. JT Kroll set the table up, and Eric Wallace ran with it.
Large, you didn't miss it, man. We just showed you everything that happened in that book.
Hold on one second.
Yeah, man, do what you gotta do. So that's Rise of Arsenal, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, it was just a really interesting take that DC allowed them to kind of do that to Roy. I know I said a character assassination. I'm kind of half joking, but it is like a character assassination of him, like as that Red Arrow character coming into now like this gruesome, brutal Arsenal. And you see the birth of him.
Yeah. And this was the point, if I remember correctly, in DC, where I think they knew that New 52 was around the corner. So they kind of went a little nuts with certain things. And because they knew, okay, stuff is largely going to get reset in a few months.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. But there was a whole series between that and how long did Titans Villains for Hire last.
I haven't really looked it up yet. Let me see. Give me a second. I'll put it on the screen as I look it up.
So there was a special, Titans Villains for Hire special number 1. Was it in the Titans mainline series? Wasn't it?
I don't know. It's the Titans Villains for Hire. It sounds like a miniseries to me.
Yeah.
Come on, my comic shop. No. Come on.
Countdown to Final Crisis.
Probably could have misspelled villains, I think. New and then
Here we go.
it's Teen Titans. Jesus, Teen Titans,
A
God.
lot of Teen Titans, man.
Oh, I got Tiny Titans.
Tiny Titans.
Big dose. Here we go. Titans 2008 series. Well, it says Villains for Hire. Is there a Titans?
I think it was in the.
Here we go. Villains for Hire special, maybe. Is that what it is? Just a special, maybe?
Was it just a one-off?
I'm thinking so.
Well, there's a trade paperback. Go back. There was a Titans Villains for Hire trade paperback. So that could be right underneath it. Trade paperback 2011. It's out of stock.
What does this collect? Titans 2040 to 27. Titans Villains for Hire special number 1.
So it sounds like after Titans 24 is when this series kind of takes over.
Yeah. What makes you wonder where's the Roy stuff? Is it just Titans for Hire? I don't know, but whatever. Interesting. All right. So that's that for Rise of Arsenal, everybody.
You know, like I said, overall, if I had to score it, 7, 6. I didn't hate it.
I liked it enough to give it like an 8.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I did not hate this. I didn't hate this. I mean, it's not something that I'm gonna want to put on my shelf or anything like that. But it intrigued me enough, honestly, like you, that I wanted to see what happens next. I wanted to see, does he get clean? Like, now he's on the Titans. What does that look like?
It's a serviceable comic book. Like, I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to pull it out one day, but man, I'm really in the mood to read that book, Yeah. But it's something where it's like, hey, here's an interesting anecdote. Did you know that at one point Red Arrow beat up a bunch of junkies with a dead cat? And they'd be like, "You're crazy, Gabe." I'm like, "Come here, let me show you something." But and then again, I want to read Villains for Hire. Like, I want to check out what that's all about and see what else goes on with Roy. That was interesting enough. I'm like, hey, this guy's going through some stuff. Let me see what DC does with that. And it's towards the end, so who knows? Gilmer wants to know where does Roy rank as our favorite sidekicks or legacy characters?
I gotta be honest with you. I don't really think about Roy too much. I'm not an Arsenal Red Arrow fan.
I don't know. Is there really that many like sidekicks and like legacy characters? I mean, top 10, I would think. But I mean, again, that's like, let me see. Robin is like the best one.
Well, I mean, you want to go down the list. It's all 3 of them. There's the 3 Robins, right?
Oh, that's a lot of Robins. I forgot about that.
4 Robins.
I think it was Robin in general. Yeah.
It was Jason Todd, Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, Damian. So right there, that's depending on how you are, a lot of fans could
top 100.
Sure. Shuffle in there. And then you start getting into does Jonathan? No, Jonathan King doesn't count as a sidekick anymore, right? He's got his own ongoing. He's kind of stepped into his father's shoes now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, top 20. I like him enough. Like, Not so much because I don't read a lot of his comics really, so I don't know. I don't like him that much from the comics, but I like him a lot from Young Justice, and I like him here because he beat up a bunch of junkies with a dead cat.
Mm-hmm.
Anything happens to my kids, those cats better watch out.
All right,
Seeing Roy as an addict in the O'Neill Adams run made a lasting impression. I mean, that's who he is, right? It's a negative thing about his character, but it's always going to be there. Like that's never going to go away, right? It's like, you could build 100 bridges, but if you do heroin once, you're a heroin addict, right? Like that's always going to be what you're going to be known for. Same as like a Giant Man for smacking his wife. That's never going to be like left alone. That's always going to be brought up. Remember that one time he hit his wife?
That was a misunderstanding, right? Well, isn't that always the thing that somebody misunderstood or the artist misunderstood the writer's intention?
Right.
Okay, I thought so.
Right. It was supposed to be like more of like a get off me, but it ended up being more of like, how dare you give me cold eggs, bitch? And
That's terrible.
Yeah, it was a hardcore like he should have had like a wife beater on.
All right, man, and that's Arsenal. In other news, you want to talk real quick because we're coming up to an hour, so I want to know if you want to talk about real quick this Fantastic Four casting that it seems like some people are going back and forth on if it's official, if it's not. A lot of websites are saying yes. A lot of websites are saying it's not fully official yet. So it seems like Pedro Pascal is going to be Reed Richards for Fantastic Four. And it seems like it's a done deal according to some websites.
Yeah, and they said the same thing about Matt Stone, Matt Smith. It's the same thing about Adam Driver. They said the same thing about like this happens like all the time, right?
Yeah.
God, go away, stupid thing.
And this seems a little more concrete. Because Deadline, I think, was reporting that yes, it's true. But then
it's all going back to the same source, though. They all keep going back to that whoever that Twitter guy is or something, right?
Yeah. And Slash Film is saying it's true. So it's, I don't know. So okay, let's say this is true. Nothing is true until I like the way you put it in the chat, where you said nothing is true until Marvel 100% confirms it.
Right.
If it is true, I don't hate it. I don't hate the casting. I think he's just a tad, just a hair, a bit too old is the only thing. I kind of wish they went a little bit younger, just a little bit. Because Pedro Pascal is 48, and by the time this sucker gets going, let's say I think they're filming sometime later next year or within 2025, something like that. He's gonna be pushing 50.
Yeah, and then if he's gonna do 2-3 movies, that's probably like another 6-7 years. So that's the one thing I said in our chat. It was like I wish they would quit casting like such older guys like this. Like all the Avengers basically are like in their 50s.
Yeah.
Late 40s, 50s. Chris Hemsworth's probably a little bit younger than that. Like I don't know how long these guys can keep around being. All of our action heroes now are like dudes in their 50s, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So and that's an interesting concept, and it's been working, but how long can these guys stick around and do this until it turns into all right, we got to recast, now they're way too old to play this character. That's going to happen real quick, Yeah. But it is what it is. I still want John K. Like, I still want John Krasinski more than anything else. Like, he was a perfect fit, I felt. This, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to see him, like, in the suit. Maybe go through a little bit of that Marvel, like, workout routine and, get fit and trimmed and stuff like that. But
Yeah, he's not,
sure,
he's not an out of shape guy. He's just a regular in shape guy. And I'm sure once he goes through the Marvel routine, they're gonna jack his ass up like they did with Paul Rudd, right?
what happened with Paul Rudd?
Paul Rudd got jacked as shit, I think, for the first Ant-Man. He got
Oh,
in great shape.
all of them did. Yeah, I mean, well, Chris Pratt too. He got ripped.
Mm-hmm. So they're gonna put him on that Marvel diet.
I'm sure. I'm not mad. Look, the guy kills it in like everything he's been doing. I mean,
Fantastic.
ever since like Game of Thrones, Mandalorian, of course, Last of Us. I'm not gonna say much about Wonder Woman 84, but still, I mean, he and people love him. Like he brings people to the theaters, I would think.
And I think that's what's part of this. I think part of this is Marvel needs a win, and they need a win badly. And they know this is arguably the most popular it guy right now for geek culture and nerds and convention people and stuff like that, which is a huge target audience for Marvel. So I could see them backing up a giant Brinks truck to him and going, "Hey, you want to be Reed Richards for a few movies? Because we need a win desperately right now." And but he's also, like you said, he's also a great actor. Everything he's been in, with the exception of one or two things, it's really good stuff. And his schedule is going to be clearing up from Last of Us really quickly next season, folks. If you haven't played the second game, his schedule is going to be wide open after a few episodes.
Yeah, Narcos too. That's another one he was great in.
He was good in Narcos. So, and for Mandalorian, I think they even said last season he wasn't even in the suit most of the time. He did the voiceover.
Yeah.
So because his schedule wouldn't allow it. So, he's probably got a few projects under his belt and everything like that. He's got the new Gladiator movie that he's in. I think that's already in the middle of filming. And he's got Mandalorian, which again he does the voiceover. Last of Us, he ain't gonna be in much of next season. So his schedule's gonna free up. And overall, I like it. I like the casting. He's older. I know that there's talks that they want him to they want to do the whole family thing where they want him and Sue to already have kids. So this kind of makes sense. How old the kids are going to be, we don't know.
I'm assuming if they're casting somebody almost in their 50s, it's going to be like
close to teens.
Yeah, I was about to say like 10 to teens.
Right. How old is Franklin and Valeria?
I don't know how old they are now in the comics, but I always knew them as being like 5 and 6 or something, real little.
Yeah, they're pretty young. So
I can see them being like teenagers or preteens.
I'm for it. And he is Chilean, and there were rumors. This, of course, is years ago before a bunch of shit has happened, where Giancarlo Esposito was being eyed to play Dr. Doom or Professor X. That was all speculation and fan casting and stuff like that. But if you want to do the story where they kind of met each other when they were younger, like high school, college age, they drifted apart, all that other stuff, it could work. They're both Chilean, right?
Sure. I guess. I mean, I don't know how much of a factor that plays into things, but sure, they can always, But now they're just copying and pasting the Mandalorian cast, right?
Yeah, they are. I think out of all these, honestly, the one that I'm the most interested in seeing cast is Ben Grimm, because Ben Grimm is a lot in a way the heart of the team. You have to get Ben Grimm right. If you don't get Ben Grimm right, the whole cast just falls apart.
I don't disagree. I mean, that's absolutely true. Because he's going to be that. Well, also he's going to be that character. Well, that'll be like Marvel wants to get him right because he's going to be that character that's going to be merchandise. Because he's a big monster, right?
Yeah.
So I can see them like, okay, yeah, we definitely need to make sure we get that right so that we can merchandise it. Make it another Baby Groot kind of situation.
Yeah, I think, and the dynamic. Fantastic Four is actually it's really hard to cast because they have to be a family. you have to get the dynamic between Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm right.
Yeah.
There has to be a good playful banter between them because you can easily slide Johnny Storm into this guy's an asshole. When really he's not. He's young, he's a little bit arrogant, and he's playful. And I think that they can slide way too far into the asshole territory if they're not careful with Johnny Storm.
Yeah. Well, and they all connect. That's one thing with them being a family. It's like
Yeah.
they all are going to have to be able to play and be charismatic with each other. You got to get a cast where they all just gel because, the way Johnny is with Reed and the way he is with his own sister and the way he is with the Thing, it's all different. Like it's a whole different dynamic. So you can't just act them the same way or treat them the same way or write them the same way. You have to write him differently when he talks to Ben, where he's always just talking shit and giving him a hard time. You know? Or he's there, or him and Reed just babbles off about all this kind of techie stuff. And Johnny's a mechanic, so he's the one that helps build all that stuff for the most part. So you got to get it. You're right. I think it is a hard cast because it's not just one. It's a team, like a legitimate, more of a team than the Avengers because they're a family. They all live together. So it's getting all that testing where they gel just the right way is important and difficult.
Yeah. I think Ben Grimm is the most important, but I think the hardest one is going to be Johnny. Just because it depends on how you write Johnny. I really think Johnny's going to be the most difficult one out of all of them to really nail down. Because Johnny's also not an idiot. Johnny has proven time and again he's actually pretty smart. When it comes down to it, Johnny can pull through.
Yeah, he's just childish. He's not an idiot. He's just nearsighted. He just cares about kind of himself and what he gets out of things. He's just that kind of person. But I think with Pedro Pascal, I think he can play a dad. Like he can do the dad caring and loving dynamic. So, and again, if you the cast is going to be bigger, if they're casting them that old, if they're going to have to now cast the kids, so it's the cast of 6 at least. I mean, that's just the main cast. That's not like then you got to get Alicia, you got to get Doom. Like this is where Marvel needs to focus. Is getting the Fantastic Four right and getting the X-Men right. Because to me, the Avengers stuff is kind of old news because the older characters are cycling out and now we got the newer characters, right? Like Falcon Cap and stuff like that. They got to get these guys right. Like this is what's going to push them into like the next phase of things and like the next chapter of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
For these movies. So all right. I'm good. All right, everybody. So that's going to be it for tonight. But before we roll out of here, we got to remind you guys of our awesome sponsor, InStockTrades.com, everyone. That's the website that we always use. That's our number one go-to spot for savings. Yes, I'm talking major savings on all your omnibuses, collected editions, and hardcovers. All your graphic novel and collected edition needs, In Stock Trades has your back. With free shipping in the United States on orders of $50 or more, an additional 2% off their already super crazy discounts, an additional 2% as a loyalty discount. So you make one order, your very next order is going to get an extra 2% added to it. Awesome customer service. We thank them for providing the sponsorship for the show and with the $50 gift card that we're going to be giving away every month on the last Monday. So check us out then as well. InStockTrades.com, everyone. Check them out too. Boom. All right, Lou. That is that.
That is that, man.
Thank you, Dr. Elevator. Thanks for everyone else who was here hanging out with us today. And for everybody who's going to watch this on the rewind, we are out of here. Let me just find that thing. Oh, Lou, where can I find you at? That part.
Well, I mean, I'm not too active on any of my socials, but Comics Guide 101 on Twitter, if you want to add me on there.
And everybody can find me Instagram, Gabe Loves 90s Comics, and Unstable Molecules on the TikTok.
All right.
And goodbye, everybody. Peace out.
Good night, everyone.
Don't get your underwear wet. Don't spit in the wind.